guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Monae and you are watching Life is Monae. I just got in my house. I have so much energy and I'm already dressed. I've already done my makeup and I decided this is the perfect time to film my very underwhelming mid-year freakout. I don't really feel like I have any books to really rave about so far this year. The books recently started hitting, so I feel like I'm going to be talking about most of my recent reads, but we'll just see how it goes. I'm going to pull the questions up and then we're going to get started. So the first question looks like, what is the best book you've read so far this year? Let's think on that. I don't even, it's June and I don't even think I remember all of the books that I've read so far this year. I need to pull up my Goodreads to see what's happening. Okay, so I felt like I read this book so long ago, but I just checked my Goodreads. It looks like I read this book in January. This is hands down the best book that I have read all year. If you guys were following my channel last year, you know that we put off Daughter and Smoke and Bone for a long time. I started talking about reading these books, I think in like May, maybe April of 2020. And it got recovered in December of 2020. So literally from April until December, I was talking about reading these books on my channel. And so I waited a long time for me to finally get to them. And it was totally worth it. Laini Taylor is a queen in my book. I don't know what I enjoyed more. Strange the Dreamer is my favorite book of all time. And I don't know which book I enjoyed more. I love Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I love the entire trilogy. I loved all three books. They were all 5 stars for me. And I love Strange the Dreamer. And I liked Muse of Nightmares. Speaking of Strange the Dreamer, I ordered the special editions of Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares. They were pretty pricey, but I love those books so much that I just felt like it was totally worth it. And they're getting ready to ship literally right now. I got an email literally yesterday saying that they were quality checked and boxed up and ready to be mailed out. And I am so excited to be doing a reread of Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares in the month of July. And I asked 2 people who are my friends that I just love them so much. I asked Jocelynn from Jocelynn Reads and Jameelah from Books with Jameelah to reread them with me because they are also a favorite for both of these lovely ladies. And I just thought it would be so dope for us to fangirl rereading our favorite series together. And I want you guys to join us for sure. We're going to have a live show at the end of July. It's going to be the last Sunday in July. Please follow all 3 of us on social media. I will put their handles in the video and in the description box down below. Read Strange the Dreamer with us. Read Muse of Nightmares with us. Fall in love with Laszlo and Sarai. And even Midyear is a favorite character for me. And I'm so excited to reread those as well. But let's get back to Daughter of Smoke and Bone. So yeah, I don't know which one I love the most. But this was just the perfect amount. What I think Laini Taylor does very beautifully in her writing is to write a romance that's a tragedy, like very Shakespearean level tragedy and romance mixed together. It makes you like long for them to be together, pine for them to be together, but then you also understand like why they're so torn apart. And like she does not make it easy. Like there's no petty breakups, no third act breakup. Like these characters, and even in Strange the Dreamer and in Daughter of Smoke and Bone, like they are torn apart by years and years of like hatred and just bad decisions and bitterness and scorn and regret. And I just felt that with this. I love the way she did the romance in this story. We follow this character named Carew, and Carew's different from everyone pretty much in her life. She has like 3 caretakers who take care of her, and they kind of live in this portal. And she only gets to them through a door. So she has like this separate life where she kind of works for her caretaker and she goes all over the country, all over the world to different realms, different portals. And she can speak almost any language that there is. And there's magic. And so she kind of collects teeth for one of her caretakers named Brimstone. And one day she's going about her job collecting teeth for Brimstone for whatever it is he uses it for. She has no idea what he collects teeth for. It's a mystery in the book. And she runs into this winged animal. He's an angel and he's out to kill her. And she's never met this man before a day in her life, but he is angry and he wants to murder her and her people and her caregivers, and she has no idea why. And the story just kind of unfolds from there. They're pitted against each other. There is a romance in this book, and there's also heartbreak and tragedy and happiness, and there's a beautiful couple between her best friend and her best friend's boyfriend, and they actually get like this beautiful love story. And so it's so cute to follow them and watch them fall in love and just be happy together, alongside the tragedy that's happening with the main characters. It was just like the perfect salty and sweet. Very Sour Patch. I loved it. Like I said, I gave every book in this trilogy 5 out of 5 stars. I have been wanting to reread this book since I closed the first book. Like, since I finished all 3 books, I've wanted nothing more than to go back and reread them. I am sad that I'm going to wait a little bit longer, but happy though because I get to reread Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares. And again, I want you guys to join us. It's going to be fun, and we're all going to upload vlogs. Hopefully we'll be able to all upload vlogs of us rereading all 3 books. But again, follow us on Twitter and on Instagram, and there will be updates on that. Question number 2 is, what is the best sequel you've read so far this year? And I know that without a shadow of the doubt, I automatically know what book that is. That is going to be Rule of Wolves. Like, I am shocked. So like, it took me a long time to read Shadow and Bone. I had absolutely no interest in reading Shadow and Bone at all. And when I read it, it was very underwhelming. I wasn't overly attached to any of the characters in any of the 3 books. I didn't really care. I wasn't connected with them, and it was okay. I think I gave the books, like, the first 2 books I gave 2 out of 5 stars because that's how I rate. If it was okay, it wasn't terrible. I didn't love it. I was there. I read it. It happened. It was a moment. I give it 2 stars. The last book I ended up giving 3 stars, and then I went into King of Scars, and that is the duology that follows Nikolai from the original series, and that one was kind of okay too. Very underwhelming, didn't really care, seemed pointless, and I am so glad that I stuck through all 5 of those books to get to Rule of Wolves. This is just perfectly paced. The plot is amazing. One of the things in the first book, in King of Scars, really upset me towards the ending, and I was just like, what is the point of doing that? It was a plot that was kind of like revamped and brought back, and it was like already resolved, and I was just like, if this book is going to be us resolving a conflict that had already been resolved, like, you're gonna waste my time twice? That's not happening. But even in this book, I feel like she tied it in wonderfully. I love the ending. I was so happy, so proud of the characters in here. And what I love about this series is that in the original trilogy, you're following characters and you kind of see them grow from the sidelines, but it's really about Alina and Mal. In this book, all of the side characters matter. You get different POVs, and even the other characters in the different characters' POVs, if that makes any sense. We follow Nikolai, we follow Zoya, we follow Nina, and they all are doing something different, and they all have different characters that they're interacting with in their timeline. You get to see character development for those people too. So you see a full story. The world is set up beautifully. The conflict is set up beautifully. It resolves. There's really no slow point in this book because there's so many conflicts that she sets up in the first book, and then she brings back a conflict that was like kind of old, and then she adds something new in this book. So it's constantly like conflict resolving, conflict resolving, conflict, and I just felt like it kept me really entertained, and I didn't feel like anything was drawn out. If you were skeptical about reading Rule of Wolves, let me tell you that this is the payoff. Like, this is the book that we have been wanting from Miss Leigh Bardugo and the Shadow and Bone Grishaverse trilogy for a long time, and unfortunately we had to read 5 books to get it, but it is totally worth it. This was a really good sequel, and I would definitely read it again. If you were super attached to particular characters, I don't know if you're going to love it. I wasn't, again, attached to certain characters. So to see her not just depend on one sole character just because the series is about this character, but to really put effort into developing all the other characters that she's following and give them all their own storyline and just make it beautifully. I feel like she brought them all together when it really mattered, but she kept them apart for most of the duology period, really, to give them their own story. So you're following 3 characters, you become attached to them, they're going through their own conflicts, and they're growing, and they're getting better, and they're learning, and it's just like to see all of them hit this super like growth moment all at the same time. It was like the payoff was just massive for me, and I really enjoyed this book definitely, again, I highly recommend. If you have read all the series and you were just like, this is not for me, I prefer other books, she's written other books better, this is The Six of Crows, Ninth House, Leigh Bardugo that we all know and love. Highly recommend that you read this book. Number 3 is a new release you haven't read yet, but you really want to. Let's look. For me, that is going to be this book called Rabbits. It is by this author, Terry Miles. This is the first book that Terry Miles has written. He is a podcast creator, and he's done like true crime, conspiracy type podcasts that are really popular. And I haven't listened to any of the podcasts, but he got a book from it, so I guess people love it. We're following this character in this world. There is this underground game, competition that happens on like the dark web once every 10 years or something like that, and it's been happening since like don't quote me, let's check, 1959. So we have this character named Kay who's super obsessed with the idea of this game, and they're really excited to get into the game and figure out what it's about, because people who win the game, they win something massive. Nobody knows what the game is about, what happens during the game, or who these characters are, because everybody has this online profile. It's super seclusive, and Kay is very obsessed with the idea of this game. There's conspiracy theories that the people who win this underground like internet tournament, they get drafted by like the FBI and the CIA, or they start do like crazy kind of jobs and they become like these millionaires or billionaires, but nobody really knows for sure what they're winning in these competitions. So the 11th competition is coming up, and our character Kate has to be in this competition because they just have to know what's happening. One person walks up to our character Kay and swears that they won the last round of competitions and that there's someone who's hacked the game, and if they don't figure out who's hacked the game and stop them from whatever it is, their sinister plan that they're planning, that the world is going to pay for it. And they don't really give any details. They're just like, you have to fix the game before the tournament commences. Basically, the world's going to go to hell. And our character is like, distraught, like, okay, that's very weird. And then the person who's warning Kay, they disappear. Kay can't find them, can't contact them, don't know where they are. They've fallen off of the face of the earth. And on top of that, time has run out, the tournament has commenced, and Kay is now in the game. So they're going to have to try to figure out a way to stop the game when they don't even know what the game is. They don't even know who they're playing against. They don't even know who's rigged the game. They don't even know what it is that they're supposed to be winning. It's just a mystery after mystery. It's literally like a rabbit hole, and that is why this book is called Rabbits. It literally just came out, and I'm so excited to get my hands on it. This is a 5-star prediction for me. I have been loving books that have like internet tropes in there, and I have so many internet trope books that I want to do a vlog on, so be on the lookout for that on my channel. If you see my most recent vlog, I bought a book called The Hive. It also involves the internet. It's a different plot, but I plan to do a vlog where I read The Hive and Rabbits together, and I have one more like internet type book. I also want to read Wild Card because that's the sequel to Warcross, and that involves the internet as well. So really excited. These are all like 5-star predictions for me. I recently learned that like I really like the online different personality, internet related, game related tropes, and this one I'm really excited to get into. Another recent release that I'm excited to get into also has an internet trope in there. Again, guys, I'm just loving these tropes. I love what the authors are doing with these tropes, and I would love to see them adapted into TV. Maybe after I read all of the books that are like internet related, I'll do a video where I talk about the ones that should definitely be adapted on TV. This one is going to be called Version 0. We're following this character named Max, who is like an internet guru, and they work for this company that does internet related stuff, very techy, and he is super supportive of the internet. He feels like it's this great tool that has been given to humanity that could definitely make the world a better place and contribute to society. But one day he discovers something very dark about his company and the data that they're collecting on people and the citizens in the country. I'm pretty sure this is set in America. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure this is set in America. And he is like, his company is doing bad stuff with the information that they're collecting on the citizens. And so he, trying to do something about it, he gets fired from his company and blackballed. Literally no other tech company or tech giant in the country will work with him. And so he comes up with this plan of he has to stop the companies and whatever they're doing with the information that they're collecting on the citizens. And so he comes up with this plan where the only way to save the world is to reboot the internet. Literally make the whole world go dark and black and going back to the early ages of the internet and starting from version 0. That also sounds really good to me. 5-star prediction as well. Mind blown. It sounds amazing. Question number 4 is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. There's so many. There's so many. Sky Hunter, I just read. The sequel comes out in September. I definitely want to read that one. It's called Steel Striker. There's also Empire of the Vampire that comes out in September. Definitely want to read that. That one's by Jay Kristoff, and it's supposed to have these very gothic, goth-like vampires, and I'm looking to see what he does with the vampire trope. Hopefully he does something new and refreshing, and it's different from any other vampire book that I've read prior. There's also a book that comes out in September that recently popped up on my radar, and that one is called Iron Widow. It follows a Chinese girl who is the emperor, the only female emperor there ever has been in China, and she has 2 love interests, and instead of her having to pick between one or the other, she chooses both, and she is in a poly relationship, and that just sounds so interesting to me. That's all I needed to know. I don't really care about anything else that's going to happen in the book. I just want to see a total bad female emperor character in an Asian setting that's in a poly relationship. Here for it. Can't wait for it. Now we need to go with the biggest disappointment of the year. Now there have been lots of disappointments, like, whew. So the first disappointment of the year is going to be Foundry Side. I bought this because people in the book community swore on their babies that this was the perfect book for people who love Six of Crows. And yeah, I didn't see it. The heist was not that interesting. The writing was not very good. The plot was not very good. The main character was insufferable. And I DNF'd this really early. Like, I think I read like 90 pages. I decided that this was not for me. We are following this girl who literally, whenever she touches stuff, she can hear it. It's like kind of like inanimate objects come alive to her, and she is a criminal and a smuggler and a thief, and she is basically forced to work with this ragtag team to steal something. Don't read it. It wasn't very good. If you see someone compare it to Six of Crows and you want to read it because you love Six of Crows, don't do that. Just read the book on its own and go from there. But I literally only bought it because I love heist tropes and I wanted another heist related book, and they swore again on Little Daisy Flowers that this was gonna be it, and it wasn't. It was a DNF. First DNF of the year. The next biggest disappointment was a recent read, and that is going to be this bad boy right here. It was hands down the worst book I've ever read. It was terrible. It is Artemis by Andy Weir. It is the same person who wrote The Martian and the author of the newest release, Project Hail Mary. I am doing a vlog literally right now where I read all 3 of his books. I've already read The Martian. I've read Artemis. Okay, like, please believe me. So the last book that I need to read is going to be Project Hail Mary. That is the new release. I plan to start that in the morning. I'm not going to get into too much about what's wrong with this book. Please, if you value my opinions, if you value me and my critiques as a reader, take my word. Don't spend your money on this. I am definitely getting a refund. Amazon is waiting right now patiently for me to drop this off at a UPS location because it is going back. This video will probably maybe be up before that vlog because I start Project Hail Mary tomorrow and I'm filming this right now. But I will come back and add the link to that vlog when it is live. And subscribe to my channel so you can see and get my personal first-hand opinions of this book and why no one should ever read it and why it should have never been approved to be published. But in the meantime, I will let you know what the book is about. We're following this character named Jasmine. She lives on like this lunar colony on the moon, and she is a thief. This millionaire hires her to kind of go and sabotage the equipment of this mega corporation because he wants to take over the contract that they have. He wants to be the one to take it on. And when she goes to do the job, everything goes south. Basically, she's left on her own and things kind of go down from there. And as she's following the story, she uncovers this scheme to take over the planet and kind of turn it into what the author described as Mexico City or New York or Chicago when it was run by the gang and the cartel. Basically, there's this gang cartel that's trying to take over the lunar colony on the moon, and basically she's pissed the wrong people off and she's trying to get them off her back and keep the lunar colony on the moon safe and out of the grips of these cartel members. Watch the vlog and don't spend your money. That's my advice. Okay, so the next question is going to be the biggest surprise. What's my biggest surprise of the year? The surprise of the year is going to be Vicious. I also did a vlog because your girl has been vlogging. I have so much content coming to you guys, and I went into this book knowing absolutely nothing. If you don't know anything about Vicious, I will give you the slimmest rundown because I want you to experience it the way that I did, which is knowing nothing, but I have to give something in the place of nothing. So we're following these two characters named Eli and Victor. They're college students. They have this thesis that if a person experiences a near death or like they die and come back, and they have this strong will to live, that they will come back with supernatural powers, and they decide to put that to the test to see if they can acquire the supernatural ability that comes with the person flatlining, and they're called extraordinary people or extraordinary EOs, and it just kind of follows them, and they're constantly trying to like die and kill each other to come back and see if they have these powers. Some of them do come back. There's also other characters in the book who do come back, and they come back a little off. There's something missing when they're revived, even though they do come back with these special powers. I'm going to say that when they come back, they lack humanity. And that kind of alters the psyche. And this is like two villain origin stories, and it was mind-blowingly amazing. You guys are gonna get to see me rave about this book. I loved it so much. The second biggest surprise is going to be The Last Magician. I read this book up against 3 other heavy hitters that were amazing, and I didn't want to read this in conjunction with those because I wanted to give this one a fair chance, a fair shake, and I just felt like it wasn't going to hit the way that it would have maybe if I read it on its own. But then I was like, you know what? I'm not giving this book a fair chance. Let me go ahead and do it. Whatever. Baby, when I say she snatched 5 stars for my crummy little fingers, I did not want to give her 5 stars. I started off at 2 stars, then I said it was a 3-star, then 100 pages from the end. I literally told all my friends on Zoom, I said no matter what happens in the end, the most she'll get out of me is a 3.5. She sat me down, taped me to the chair, and snatched them other 2 stars out my hand. I had no choice but to give her 5 stars. We were following this character who has to go back in time to steal these artifacts, and honestly, Foundry Side was a complete disappointment, and people compared it to Six of Crows. This is not like Six of Crows in any way, but if you love Six of Crows like I love Six of Crows, and you didn't like Foundry Side like I didn't like Foundry Side, you are going to love this. The plot and the scheming and the schematics and the characters in this book are perfect, and honestly, it's giving Six of Crows a run for its money in terms of a plot, because the twists in this book will have you spending all night. Prepare, okay, to sit down, prepare. It's one of those books where like the payoff only happens at the end because so much is happening. She's going back in time, she's working in the past with different characters, and you're just kind of following them as they try to pull off these different heists, and like 3 of the main characters all have different plans for what they want to happen in the end, but they all need each other to pull off the job, including the main character that we're following. And there's also a magician in here because it's called The Last Magician. And basically, in order for one person to pull off their plan and to be successful in their plan, they have to betray the other 2 people. So you're reading this entire book and you're like, well, who's going to be the one to win? Somebody has to lose, and somebody's going to betray the entire team. And baby, Lisa Maxwell has my respect. I will never talk down on her. I will never throw shade on her name because she's gonna get 5 stars out of you, I promise. Question number 7 is a favorite new author, debut or new to you. That is going to be Shauna McGuire. And the month of January, I read all of the Wayward Children books and Middle Game, and I was supposed to upload an entire review on that, but life got hectic and I never got a chance to upload it. But Shauna McGuire, in the terms of the Wayward Children series, I really was thoroughly surprised with the writing and the world that they were able to build. And I literally felt like I was traveling with these kids. If you don't know what the Wayward Children series is about, these are all of the books. They're not in order. You don't have to read them in order, but they're not in order. Come tumbling down across the green grass fields, in an absent dream, beneath the sugar sky, down among the sticks and bones, and then lastly is Every Heart Adore We, which is actually the first book. We're following these different characters, different like teenagers. Some of them are adults, but we're following these different characters, and they have a Alice in Wonderland kind of or Chronicles of Narnia kind of experience where they come through this doorway and they're entered into an entire new world, and then some of them are forced to come back to our reality, and it literally follows them as they try to fit in again and decide which place is actually home. Like, what happens to Alice in Wonderland when she returns back? She's already been changed to adapt in the environment that she's in. Or the Chronicles of Narnia, when those kids come back through the wardrobe and they adjust to our reality. Some of them cope really well. Some of them don't cope very well at all. Some of them come back as murderers and serial killers. This was great. We have so much representation in terms of like queerness. There's a gender non-binary character in here, and the world that she builds in every book is so totally different and so out of the box, something that you've never seen before. And I highly recommend that you read them, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are literally 6 options for you to choose from. You're bound to like at least 3 out of the 6 for sure. And it's still continuing. There is another one. I think there's another 2 scheduled to come out, and I will definitely be reading them. I was taken by surprise, and you guys know I love whimsical, fantastical worlds, and I just feel like she made them so perfect in these series. Question number 8 is my newest fictional crush. I don't know if I have a crush. I'm lying. It's gonna be Akiva from Daughter of Smoke and Bone. He can do no wrong. And even when he did wrong, I stood beside him. I stood beside him. I was arguing with his lover to forgive him, because he didn't do nothing wrong, sis. Let it go. Forgive my man. Our man. Your man. Forgive your man. Please. Number 9 is my newest favorite character. My newest favorite character right now, probably Darrow from Red Rising. I've only read the first book though, so don't quote me on that. He might disappoint me. He might let me down in the future. But he's the perfect character in terms of like being very primal and like murdery, but also being like scheming and mischievous, and I just really enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to continuing with the series. I did give Red Rising, I think I gave it 3.5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5 stars, but it would have been perfect if there wasn't some other things. You guys will see that review coming up on my channel, but definitely Darrow from the Red Rising series right now. Number 10 is a book that made me cry. I honestly don't know. I don't think there's been a book that's made me cry this year. I did reread Black Girl Unlimited, and I definitely cried again, but that was a reread from my last year. It still hit the same, if you were wondering. The Waterworks still came, and yeah, that's really the only book that makes me, I'm a real, thugger. We don't just be crying out here. I almost cried reading Artemis because it sucked so bad. Number 11 is a book that made me happy, and again, Daughter of Smoke and Bone, the entire trilogy. I ate it up. The girlies loved it. It was perfect. No complaints. 5 out of 5 stars for every book. Rule of Wolves also made me very happy. I loved Zoya. She Will Forever Reign, and yeah, queen. Literal queen. 12 is the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. That is going to be Ace of Spades. Look at this freaking cover. Like, it is perfect. I really love what they did. Even on like the back. I love this cover. I also read this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Review coming. I don't want to make this video too long, but the hype around this book, well deserved. Well deserved for a debut author. When No One Is Watching was another Black thriller that came out last year, and I am now learning that I really love like the Black thriller Get Out aspect to really indie trope, because that one was like a Get Out version of gentrification. This one is like a Get Out version of these 2 Black kids going to this all-white private academy. Yeah, it's been solidified. Both of those books were top hitters for me, and whenever more books come out in that genre with that trope, I will definitely be reading them. Also, leave some recommendations for Black thrillers in my comment section, because I might just be exploring that, because I've just grown to know that I really like them. So number 13 is what books do you need to read towards the end of the year, and that is endless. Looking right now, I need to read To Sleep in the Sea of Stars. I need to read Mistborn and Skyward. I need to read The Name of the Wind. I need to read Dune and Honeycomb. I need to read Malice. Don't be funny. Don't be making jokes. I know I need to read Malice. I need to read the Truly Devious series. I need to read Graceling. My shelves. I need to read my shelves. that's basically it. So it looks like those are all the questions for my Midyear Freakout, and I feel like I did a good job. I mean, the books, they were okay. I did better than I thought I was going to. If you take anything from this video, buy Ace of Spades, read it. Buy Rule of Wolves, read it. Don't read Artemis.